Maybe the better mystery thriller in theaters is See How They Run. I didn't get to catch this one, but I think you did.
Yes, it had a really quick flip in theaters where HBO Max is about to have it this weekend. So if you haven't seen it, we might have it on the new to see. You will have this in the comfort of your own home. And I may recommend a double feature between this and The Outfit, which is on Prime or Peacock, one of
Yeah,
those two. That would be a really good double feature.
it's
I
on
have The
Prime.
Outfit. Yeah, I think so. The Outfit has edged this out for me just a little bit in terms of the performances and the way that that movie plays out. But you have a similar type of story here where you have a mystery thriller of a murder, but it's taking place within this play, and everyone in the play has different reasons for wanting to stay at the play or why they don't like somebody else at the play, in particular because the play is going to be turned into a movie, but they can't turn it into a movie because some people worry that the play isn't going to sell anymore because now it's a movie. So you're wondering like what's going to happen here. I don't know if they spoil who specifically dies, but it's a pretty prominent character, not just in the cast, but for this show that ends up getting it, and they have to figure out who is the murderer. It is very meta. A lot of people have called this Wes Anderson. I don't see the. I do see the Wes Anderson. I feel like that's the cliche to just be like, oh my gosh, things are very flat, or there's a very nice pattern. It must be Wes Anderson. It uses a lot of his cast, which I could also see why they say Wes
Right.
Anderson. To me, it is more Baby Driver.
Okay. More Edgar Wright.
Soho. It's more Edgar Wright because of the way he jokes about it, the way it breaks the fourth wall. Where you'll have a character being like, "What? Are we going to jump 3 weeks later?" And it says 3 weeks later. That to me is more him than it is Wes. The characters are fun to hang out with. The mystery takes its twists and turns that I think are kind of intriguing. But it reminds me a lot of Scream, in where it's commenting on what you already know, and then that's the movie.
Mm.
It's like, hey, don't mystery thrillers do this? And you're like, yeah, it does do that. And they're like, yeah, it does do that. And I'm like, oh, that's your take on it. Got
Right.
it. But it got close towards the end, dude, where I was like, yo, this is willing to do something a little different. And
Interesting.
then it didn't commit to it. And I wish it would have commit to it. But I love the cliches that they try to flip on here. That idea of like you're almost narrating what's supposed to happen in a mystery thriller.
Hmm.
So it becomes a little meta with it. But it doesn't do anything too new.
Yeah. You mentioned Scream, which is probably like the high end of that, like we're self-aware and meta and
Scream, no, no,
doing
no,
the
no, no,
thing.
no, no. Scream 2022.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Not the original Scream. Scream is the best. You're right. Yes.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's the high end of the like we're
Yes.
acknowledging it and doing it at the same time. I think about like I know a lot of people like the movie more than me, but Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent earlier this year, where I hated the way that they would like talk about the plot as the plot was happening. It,
Yes, it's that
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. It's that sometimes. Okay, there you go. That's the best way to put it. Um, if you like that, a lot of people like that type of comedy. I just feel it's incomplete. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you're addressing what the audience already knows. What makes
Right.
you a movie and why the audience came is that next step, not the talks that we have after the movie.
Yeah. It
And
feels
that's what
like
I
a
felt the
cop
new.
out for the script, just a cop out.
That's what it is. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're discussing what people already know instead of doing something different. The original Scream knew it's like this is something people think about, but they've never sat in a movie
Yeah.
and been given it. By 2022, we've sat with every version of this. So look, it's still intriguing, but I definitely think the best place to watch it is on HBO. It's a very brisk movie. It's enjoyable. The cast is great, and our guy from Triangle of Sadness kills it in this movie as well. He's so
Ooh.
charismatic.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, really good cast.
Very cool. So maybe a slight recommendation for See How They Run, maybe
Mhm.
a more hearty recommendation for The Outfit, which I actually caught up with on my plane back
It's good,
into the
bro.
country. Yeah, it's really solid. I remember you telling me that it was good, but it's really just a very satisfying watching the pieces all fall into place movie. A very good contained set movie, a chamber piece, and yeah, I mean, just is continually surprising right up until the end. Maybe doesn't feel quite as big as it's some like kind of feels stagey. I think you mentioned that it feels like a play.
Play. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's play.
Um
It's all in
and
one room practically.
yeah, and it almost feels sometimes more like a play than a movie. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. Mark Rylance is so solid in this movie, and the kind of actor who can really pull off this
He's
kind of
really good.
role where there's like always a card he has up his sleeve, and
Mm-hmm.
he never like hints at it too heavily.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'd recommend that one as well.
Yeah, like we said, that one should be over on Prime. They keep switching it between Peacock. I don't understand. It's a Universal movie. Universal gets it, and then y'all forgot to close in on the rights, and it goes the other way. I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is one where I would even say if they had a good deal on it, it was like $9 and you could buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it that type of rating. I thought it was a pretty decent movie, especially if there's some behind the scenes because Rylance's performance is fantastic, and that's the second one of the year that's really stood out to me. So I would consider him a lead in this. I don't really know how they would
Yeah.
break it down, but to me, he's a lead
Oh, for
there.
sure.
Bones and all, he's supporting. I think he earns a spot in both categories, in my opinion.
Ooh, okay. We'll get into actor discussions not too long from now for sure.